To another episode of Fenway Finale live on Twitter and YouTube. Tonight, I'm joined by James and Will, and we'll break down everything from this disgusting 8-6 loss to the Brewers. After tonight's loss, this team is currently sitting at 2-8, the worst record in baseball. Give us your initial temperature check after 10 games in the season. James, we can start with you. Go ahead.
Yeah, pretty bad. Everything that we were promised was going to be better has not been. Pitching, defense, the lack of impact bats is absolutely killing them. We said all offseason that they needed Bregman and someone else, whether that was Marte, Alonso, Schwarber, you name it. Whether those were realistic, not realistic, it didn't matter what avenue you went down. And the lack of impact bats is just killing the offense. Obviously, they tried to go with a different lineup today. Worked to an extent. Story with as many RBIs today as he had all year in the 2-hole. Sliding down a few spots, but everything is bad. Nothing is good except for, Anthony and Abreu at the dish and then Crochet on the mound. So a lot has gone wrong. Nothing has gone right. And this team, you can't win a pennant in April, but you can certainly lose pennants in April. And that is happening very fast with this team.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm the same way. My temperature check. I mean, my temperature is so high. This is beyond like fever level. This is like hospitalization level temperature. This is ridiculous. This is crazy. 10 games in and we're still losing. The same story all season long. I don't want to hear this stuff if it's too early. It's too soon to make assumptions and summaries. It is just beyond what it's beyond excusable. It really is. As James mentioned, we were promised better pitching, better defense in the offseason, and that's what this team was going to ride on. And both have let you down back to back nights. It's ridiculous. We've scored 12 runs in the last 2 games combined. And, finally the offense might be peeking through. We are seeing certain light, Story moving to the 5-hole, getting 2 RBIs today, looking better than he has in the last, 2 series. And, and it still wasn't good enough. Roman with 2 hits. We'll dive into that too. But, our offense is kind of, you see sparks of life and then the pitching lets you down. Then defense lets you down. And now I'm sitting there and it seems like any kind of, if it's past the 4th inning and we're down by even a run, that 1 run difference feels like 10 runs. It is the energy is just not there. The fans leaving early from Fenway. I hope ownership sees those fans leaving and hopefully that sends a message beyond just the sell the team chance that we can hear pretty loud on NESN feed at least. But man, how long is this going to go on for?
Speaking of those chants, I think they saw the crowd of over 35,000 tonight for a game on April 6th where it was freezing because of a Roman Anthony bobblehead giveaway that they only gave away to 7,500 fans. And they were happy with their concession prices and their seat prices and their hot dogs and whatever. So it's like, I totally agree with you, but it's like they're going to see 35,000 for a game on April 6th and be totally content with that crowd. Doesn't care whether the Red Sox lose 28-3 or they win 28-3. Doesn't matter.
They were going to wish it was raining so they could sell ponchos to those 35,000 fans, the $10 little plastic trash bags.
And have the game get stopped before 5 innings and they can have a makeup game and double the money.
Nightmare fuel.
That's right.
So I know a lot of people talk about this team and how it's early. It's only 10 games into the season. But I want to talk about how that it's 2-8. 2-8 is a different story than 3-7, 4-6. Those are slow starts. This is a bad baseball team. There's a difference. This team does everything they possibly can to lose a baseball game, where if it's just bad luck, this team would be 4-6 right now. This team is just bad. They have no life. They're lifeless. They have no leadership. They have no vision. They have no you have your 21-year-old outfielder or 21-year-old stud outfielder in left field today, and he throws the ball into the dirt, into shortstop. He was probably I can't even imagine how bad of a throw that is in that situation. A guy that's supposed to be a superstar in this league, and he gets up a do or die play where you had to play at the plate. If you watch that play, there looked like there was a chance to be a play at the plate. He picked that ball up and he threw it about 55, 60 feet into the dirt offline. It was a pathetic throw. And if that you're putting so much weight on that guy's shoulders, you basically told him you have to be perfect. You have to be a superstar if this team's going to go anywhere. You put so much weight on his shoulders, he can't even throw the ball home anymore. You're going to ruin this guy if you're going to put all this weight on his shoulders. I feel bad for him. And I'm talking crap about him right now. I put out a tweet out there saying there's an issue with his throwing and that it's unacceptable. He can't make these throws in this situation. But now that I think about it, you put so much pressure on this kid to go out there and perform at the highest possible level, to be a superstar, to anchor this Red Sox lineup for years to come. And you put so much pressure on him, he can't even throw the ball anymore. There is fundamental issues from single A all the way up to the major league level, from ownership to Alex Cora to everywhere right now. It's not just a bad baseball team. It's a horrible organization. It's run horribly from the bottom all the way to the top at the moment. It's everywhere. It's not just on the baseball field. Like you guys were saying, the leadership and the ownership are perfectly content with the Red Sox being a bad team as long as 35,000 people are in the stands every day, buying hot dogs, sitting outside, waiting outside for Roman Anthony bobbleheads. That's all they care about. It's getting asses in the seats. They don't care if they're Red Sox fans. They don't care if they're Brewers fans. They don't care if they're Dodger fans. They don't care where they come from as long as they're spending money at Fenway Park and being a tourist trap like Fenway Park is now.
Yeah, I mean, I think going back to your point on Anthony in the field, tonight, I think he was in his head on his first few weak throws from earlier in the season, over the last week and a half, because that was one of the worst throws that I think any of us have seen from a Red Sox, outfielder. Obviously the one in Cincinnati, and then the one was that on Saturday, the one on Saturday against San Diego. Obviously not great, but I think tonight might have been something where it was in his head. Doesn't matter. It's inexcusable and it wasn't good. But it is weird because last year, he was a really solid defensive player and actually pretty good. His splits between, he obviously split time between right and left. And last year, overall, he had 7 defensive runs saved last year, and I think 4 outs above average, across both positions. And he actually he marked out much better in right field than he did in left field. Even though right field at Fenway is probably a lot harder to play. So he was very solid last year. And listening to the guys on Section 10 talk, Sox prospects, looking back at his prospect rankings all the way throughout the minors, he was always graded as an average to above average arm, nothing special, but nothing that was going to be an issue. And obviously this year it has been a massive issue and something that the whole baseball world has made fun of him for. And, right now there's nothing he can do about it. What he can do is make better throws, obviously. So, I don't know whether it's an injury that we don't know about, if it's something that is just in his head, whatever it is, needs to get figured out ASAP, because, if it doesn't, he's just going to be relegated to DH. And obviously, while they have this outfield logjam, they might want to do that. And, regardless, this pivots to my next point. Find a way to get Yoshida in the lineup and keep him in the lineup. Look good in the 2 spot tonight. Obviously, the last couple of days has done his thing. So just keep him in the lineup no matter what. And if that's even putting him in the outfield instead of Anthony, fine. Go ahead and do it. Like, we need our best team out there. And obviously we want our best offensive team because we don't have the bats. But if Yoshida is also a better defender than Anthony, then DH Anthony and put Yoshida in left, but find a way to keep Yoshida in the lineup.
I can't believe that we're having even that conversation. And I'm not disagreeing with you by any means, but here we are on April 6th talking about, is Yoshida a better defender than Roman Anthony? I can't
believe I'm saying it. I can't believe myself. It's like, it is crazy though. And obviously Duran factors into it, and Will, I talked about this last week on Wednesday. But maybe at some point it's getting Rafaela at second base, moving Meyer to short, and getting all 5 of the outfilders. And they're like, they have to find a way to change something up and get their best team on the field, regardless of what position guys are playing.
Absolutely.
It's just, again, that part of the conversation is crazy too. But it's like at some point you have to try something different. Maybe have a lineup where you have all 5 outfielders in there, and you have Anthony, Duran, Yoshida, Rafael at second, Massa at DH, or Massa and left, Anthony DH, whatever it may be. It's like you have to get your best team out there on the field.
Absolutely. It is a real bummer to be talking about the possibility of moving Rafaela to the infield. Like, we've all been like cringing at the idea of, but he's kind of being forced there, not because of his own playing, which we can get into. He did have that drop in the later innings tonight too.
And that one on Saturday where he misjudged it. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, that's a separate topic, but in terms of the rest of the team and just the lack of being able to manage this roster and clear that outfield logjam has led us to this tough position where we might have to see Rafaela in the infield, which will probably make me cry both out of hatred and sadness. But regardless, that is still just the fact that that's on the table a week into the season, 10 games into the season, is crazy. That shows you how bad this team currently is. going back to the Roman throw today too. Yes, we can talk about his shoulder. We can talk about his arm, his lack thereof in terms of accuracy. That play to me showed a serious lack of fundamentals in terms of cutoff, in terms of where you're throwing that ball. Caleb Durbin didn't get himself in front of that ball and let that ball go right by him. He had a minimal effort to stop that ball that was thrown, as we've all pointed out, right in front of him from shallow left field. That ball should have been over his head on a dime to Navarez at home. But instead,
or at least right at Durbin's chest. So if he wants to cut it off, he can cut it and turn and throw it right away. Like if you're going to throw to the cutoff man, just hit him with a dime, and that's all you have to do.
I would like to believe that the Little League team in my town could fundamentally play that play better than the Red Sox did tonight. Caleb Durbin needs to see that ball is offline, and if he lets that go through, Navarez has to go and get that ball, getting him off of home, and he has to get that ball, marked down, get that body in front of it, knock it down. I don't want to see this stuff of going by Navarez anymore. It caused more runners to move up. That play was just ugly in every form. Once that play happened, there was no coming back. That was it. That was it for the game, in terms of my opinion.
And so much for the defense being better in 2026 than it was in 2025, or really from 22 to 25, because I think this is the worst of the bunch in terms of the last few years. And maybe that's an overreaction through 10 games, but it has been pathetic. I mean, they made the second most errors in baseball last year, and through 10 games, they had fewer errors than they do this year. Like, it's ridiculous.
I think the issue is the infield defense has been horrible for a bunch of years. Since 2023, at least. 2022 was really bad too.
22 even,
22, yeah. So it's been bad since 2022. What we didn't expect this year is the outfield defense to be bad. We have Rafael regressing. He hasn't been that great so far. We have Roman Anthony, who's been horrible. We didn't think that was going to happen. William Brayer's still been great. But when the outfield defense is not good, we thought it was going to be one of the best defensive groups in the major leagues. And now it's a weakness. That is really bad. And that is an issue.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's you looking at the coaching or you're going to look somewhere else, but something has to change. So Don Rafaela has one very, very elite skill. And if that is declining, then he doesn't deserve to be on the baseball team. If he can't go out there, be an elite center fielder every single day, I don't want to see him at second base. I know we're talking about early in the season. This team's 2-8. Who really cares what we're talking about at the moment? Anything. We could try anything. But if Ceddanne Rafael is playing second base, he has no value. If he's not playing center field at an elite level, he has no value. And I think that might be the odd man out if he doesn't start hitting or go on one of his hot streaks.
Yeah, I don't think he'll ever be the odd man out because of A, the contract, and B, the defense. But yeah, they have to change something up. Whatever it is, they got to do something.
And going back to the defense too, as James and Nick were just mentioning too, in terms of going back. Again, after tonight's game, we have 11 errors on the season. That is number 2 in all of baseball, behind the Tampa Bay Rays. Third place and somewhat tied for second, depending on how the game goes. The Nationals. Anytime you're lumped into that group of team names, it's never a good thing. That's not a playoff worthy.
The Rockies haven't even caught us yet.
That tells you all you need to know about our defense.
So Brent last night had another comment here. Rafael in on the dirt. You're a lot more flexible. Anyone outside of Contreras can come out of the lineup, and you're not picking one of the outfielders every day. So if Rafael is at second base, then Masataka Yoshida could be an everyday hitter or everyday player. And that's what you need right now is Masataka Yoshida is one of your everyday bats. I think there's a way to do that without putting Ceddanne Rafael on the infield. Just make him the everyday DH. Put Roman Anthony in left field, put Jarren Duran in center field, and leave Wilyer in right. And then right now, Ceddanne Rafael is on the bench until he becomes one of those. He goes on one of those heaters when he is the best hitter on the planet, and then you have to put him in the lineup. That's what I would do right now, because right now he's not as good as he is normally defensively. At least he's not grading out as well, and I don't think the first step has been as good as he was last year.
No, I agree with you there, but the bat is so much better at this point this year than it was through April last year. I mean, he was hitting under 200 going into May last year, and obviously this is only 10 games, still plenty of time to go, but I don't think through 10 games he was hitting 241 last year. Like the bat is definitely significantly improved for him, so I don't think that that's going to be a question. But also, like, at what point does Cora look himself in the mirror and be like, this is on me? Like, yes, we can all agree, roster construction, not great, and that falls on Breslow, the front office. Like, the sell the team chance. Yeah, I think we all agree with the sentiment there, not spending in the offseason, but it's like the way the team was built, and overall their payroll is $260 million. I think we can all understand that, yes, they didn't go get another impact bat. They panicked with Suarez. Maybe they would have been better suited going to get another number 2 instead of Suarez, because he's looked like a number 8 starting pitcher so far, through the WBC spring training and now his first 2 starts in Boston. But ultimately, at what point does this fall in coaching? Like 5 years in a row, lack of fundamentals defensively and just not doing the basic things and cleaning anything up. I mean, I know that was a tough play for Durbin tonight on that error, but it's like that's when the floodgates opened. It's like he doesn't make that play, and then you go into that inning up 3-0 and you leave the inning down 4-3. Like something has to change. Something has to change.
Do you want to bring up the stat again that we brought up last night about not having shutdown innings, basically?
Yeah.
Sure.
It's pathetic. It's embarrassing. The Red Sox should be able to hold 4-run leads, 3-run leads. They shouldn't be able to do this. They shouldn't be doing this every single time they go out to a big lead. They should be able to hold it with the starting pitchers making as much money as they do.
Yeah. And I have the updated stat here. So 10 of the last 11 times the Red Sox have scored a run, the next half inning, they give up runs. With the one that to break the streak was in the first inning of tonight's game. They score the bottom of the first, don't give up runs in the top of the second. We all know how that kind of unfolds, but that is just something that, I mean, that I think that talks more, that's more of a reflection on your coaching, both pitching, your mindset with pitchers, than anything else. Obviously, defense plays a role in that too, but those pitchers are going out there and just thinking, oh, I have a 1-run lead in the second inning, and Bello goes out there. I'm not saying that this was his attitude, but obviously there's some kind of attitude shift there that needs to be corrected.
Yeah, big time.
So the question here, what were the fans chanting at the Sox? Does anyone know? They were chanting, sell the team, sell the team. And I honestly think NESN might have lowered the volume as well, because it sounded like it was very high. And then it got...
Stats was thinking the opposite. Stats was thinking the producer in the truck up the volume so everyone could hear. So everyone could hear that they were chanting "sell the team." I mean, that's 3 days in a row now with "sell the team" chants, and I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. They probably should have been booed off the field in the 9th inning tonight. The Boo Birds did come out in that 4-run 4th inning for Milwaukee. But yeah, I think everyone agrees with the sell the team chants.
I love when Dave O'Brien even mentioned too. He goes, "Oh, here are the chants again!" Like in the 8th inning.
And Dave can't say anything, or he's going to lose his job, obviously. But he knows. He and Lou know.
Of course.
So you want to get? So we talked about not being able to hold any leads. Do you want to get into the starting pitcher, Brayan Bello, tonight? I mean, his swing and miss stuff was great, but after that, he couldn't find the zone. He had 4 walks. It was just a really weird outing by him. I think we should get into him next.
Yeah, let's rip the Band-Aid off, because obviously I think we all agree that Bello was very solid last year, and he's very dependent on a good defense behind him, which obviously we don't have. But was last year the ceiling in terms of what we're going to see? Maybe. It's just like there's nothing. I feel like the best word to use to describe his starts are just clunky. Like nothing is ever clean. If one thing is going well, something else isn't. And we need to stop calling him Little Pedro, whatever. It's like, let Bello be Bello, but it's like nothing was clean tonight at all. It's like he was doing some things great and other things just like, what are we doing here? The four walks were a killer. 86 pitches through 3 1/3, and that's it. I mean, like, it's wild.
I will make one positive. I thought the cutter was disgusting tonight, but besides that, I don't think he didn't have the command that he should have. He was facing a good offense, so we can give him a little bit of slack on there. He's facing a very good team, if not the best offense in baseball or the best offense in the National League. But Brayan Bello needs to be better. Like you said, 86 pitches, and he can't get out of the 4th inning. He only got 1 out in the 4th. All those runs came in that inning. But, it's just, if the Red Sox are going to have these kind of outings from Brayan Bello, I think they can get, if this is what he's going to go or give us going forward, I think you can get more out of Peyton Tolley. I really do. And I don't want to just throw Brayan Bello under the bus, or write him off. But I have been down on Brayan Bello for a while. I thought last year was his ceiling, like you just brought up. If he can go out there and replicate last year, then obviously he deserves to be in this rotation. But when you have guys like Peyton Tolley with the upside they do, I just think Peyton Tolley's upside is way higher than what Brayan Bello is ever going to achieve. But right now. I think you need guys that I know it's kind of weird what I'm talking about right now, but you talked about how Brian Bayo relies on his defense, right? And he needs a good defense to be successful. We've seen in the last his starts this year an uptick in his swing and miss. Do you think he is relying on that? He wants to strike out more guys, and that's why we're seeing the lack of command. Maybe he's trying to get more swing and miss this year because the defense sucks and we don't see the improvement we should see that we were promised. I think maybe that is playing a role into why we see the uptick in the swing and miss and the uptick in the lack of command, and the walks. Could that be a contributing factor?
Very well. Yeah, very well could be. I think the 17 whiffs was super encouraging. He's been missing bats a lot this season. I think that's the only real consistent upside with him so far this season is his whiffs. If you want to be optimistic about him, I read the stat line 3 1/3 innings for a starting pitcher. I mean, we've seen this so many times, not only in the last few years. Look at our second time through the rotation this year. We're seeing the same thing with everyone that's not named Crochet. It is just a habit that we have to get out of. We cannot be setting this norm of, if you're a starting pitcher, you get into the 4th inning, like, bravo, that's the goal. This is ridiculous.
Playoff series last year.
Crazy. I was thinking about this too. Game 3 of a playoff series right now, and I know we're 10 games in, but if we're in a playoff series and we need a pitcher after Crochet and then
early.
Yeah, seriously, it would be early for me. Out of our entire starting rotation.
We can't talk about a playoff series because this team ain't sniffing that right now. So.
I'm not even sniffing it either, James. I'm saying it is hypothetical.
I get it.
What pitcher am I most confident with? And goes Crochet early and then 10 feet of crap, and then it's Bayo, Suarez, and everyone else. It is
Jake
ridiculous.
Bennett after that.
It very well could be Jake Bennett.
I have Jake Bennett starting the 3rd game of the playoff series, even though the Red Sox are not getting to a playoff series. They're 2-8. They're 2-8.
Yeah, the biggest issue, like we said, is you can't win a pennant in April. You can certainly lose one in the Red Sox, and that's just the old adage, lose a playoff spot, whatever it may be. That adage is from when there was one playoff team in each league. You can certainly not make the playoffs in April, and it's multiple people. I know they said it on Section 10. They were pointing out today the Red Sox would have to play .550 baseball from now on to get to, I think, 86, 87 wins, whatever the number they floated out. Their winning percentage last year was .549. So they would have to play better, a percentage better than they did last year from this point on, after being 2-8 or 2-7 going into today. Now 2-8. It's just like the hole keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and nobody needs you to be 8-2. But could you be 4-6 right now? Things would be a lot better. It's like and I get it. People who aren't diehards, who don't watch baseball, it's like, yeah, whatever. There's 162 games. There's a lot. You miss the playoffs by 1 or 2 games. The game that you lose on April 6th matters just as much as game 159 on September 25th or whatever that date is. It's like they all mean the same. So it's like if they somehow do turn it around, it's like, think about last year. We were 42-44, I think, until that 10-game winning streak started against the Nats, the Rockies, and the Rays, and they really turned it on for the second half of the season. If they somehow get to that point, we're going to be looking back at these first 10 games and however much longer this goes on and being like, we could have just been 5-5 over this stretch, or 4-6, and that could be the difference. And it's like, we have a long way to go until we get to a point of playing that hypothetical. But that's what makes it so frustrating.
I hear from Brent about the pitch usage from a couple of these guys lately. The pitch usage from some of our guys this year is all over the place. I get mixing it up, but it's almost like they're still trying to shape these guys who have been around and have established what type of pitchers they are. I think we're talking about Ranger Suarez's start yesterday. He had a very different arsenal than usual. I think the changeup was a lot higher than normal. Connolly early in his start, his changeup usage was a lot higher than normal. I think it's just been back at Fenway Park when it's been colder. That's what I'm going to kind of say it's been. Ranger Suarez and Connolly early didn't have the feel for their fastball, so maybe that's why they went a change-up heavy arsenal those 2 days. But Brent did make a pretty good observation here. The Red Sox have been going a little bit off course with their pitch usage as they did differently than last year, at least.
Maybe driveline isn't always the answer. Sorry.
No, it's not. It's not always the answer. I mean, sometimes
we like
to be analytical, and sometimes you need to use your eyes, and sometimes you need to push them together.
Exactly. Yeah, and like what? Sometimes I sit there and wonder, what do Veritek and Bailey do? And I love the captain, but like seriously, I don't know. There's not much run prevention going on right now. I'll tell you that much.
No, I mean, I don't know what they do. There's people out there that have been calling for Veritek to be the manager for years, and I've always said, what does he do? He's been a coach that does nothing for years. I'm so sick of the trend of just putting old players in just because they're old players. Can you prove something first before you get a job in the major leagues? There's only 30 of these jobs, and why are we just handing them to players because they used to play?
And let's be real, Bailey, the second half of last season saved Bailey's job. I mean, that game in New York when Walker Buehler gave up, however much that was, that the first game against New York, they almost came back and won that game. But, go after that stretch, playing Milwaukee, going into that series, it's like if they don't turn it around after that series, I don't think Bailey would have had a job this year because things were not looking good after May of 24 for the pitching department. It was really June of 24 to June of 25 where it looked really bad. Second half of last season, obviously, or June 10th on last season when Roman came up, it coincided with the pitching turning it around and it got a lot better. So it's like, yeah, maybe Bailey wrote off of 3 months last year, and this is more of him coming back to form and who he is. I don't know. I don't want to overreact like that. But something I was thinking of today, obviously, they traded Devers last year, whatever, but Anthony came up on June 9th and Devers was still here. The team was kind of lifeless offensively, needed a spark, a couple games under 500, boom, they call up Anthony. There ain't anybody like that in the minors this year to save you. Nobody's going to bail you out. Like there's no last ditch effort you can throw a lifeline to, be like, oh, let's try this and let's see if it works. Roman Anthony 2.0 ain't coming through that door this year. It's not, I think we would all love it if it were going to be Campbell. Probably not going to happen. So it's like there's nobody that you can call to after 2.5 months of lackluster performances and be like, hey, come save us. Because Roman, they were 44-27 with Roman in the lineup last year. It's not somebody like that down in AAA right now.
Nope. Next, I want to bring up the Wilson Contreras day because there's quotes coming out right now. It looks like in the post-game interviews and stuff. So let's just kind of talk about his day to begin with. He reached base 5 times today. He got hit by a pitch. There's obviously been some heated moments in the past between Wilson Contreras and the Brewers and Brandon Woodruff specifically. I guess he's been hit at least 6 times by that specific pitcher in his career. So I didn't know that coming into the game, but obviously I found that out after he was hit. Do you have any thoughts on that? Do you think he overreacted? Do you think the slide into second base was a little bit, too aggressive? I don't have an issue with it, especially with a team that's at the time they were 2-7 and you need to spark the squad. I would have done anything possible for my new team to try to get them going. I do think it was a little bit hard of a slide, but I was perfectly fine with it in the moment, as a Red Sox fan. What are your thoughts on his day?
First off, great game from him. He's one of the few bright spots of this lineup that is showing who he actually is. That homer in the 9th, man, like, it's like Chris Paul meme of like, he drops like 40, but still lose by, however many points it is.
Welcome back to the Wally head, at least.
Oh my! I wish they'd like say that. Why even bring the Wally head out?
Right? Yeah.
That was so forced. Anyway,
it's a huge 3 to cut it to 42.
Thank you. Exactly the meme I'm talking about. That's what it felt like. Contreras, man, that was an absolute bomb. I loved his energy too. Getting hit, he's yelling and screaming, and I would have loved to see some punches thrown, whatever, to get this team going. You really hoped that is what would have caused the team to kind of spark both on all sides of the ball. Unfortunately, it wasn't. But is there anything heated there? Obviously, it's behind closed doors. We had no idea. But I do want to point out too, everyone looks at Trevor Story as the veteran presence of this clubhouse. Let's not forget that Contreras has been around the league for a while, right? Yes, he has faced the Brewers quite a bit. We're about to face the Cardinals, his old team, right? He has experience being on pretty decent playoff teams. He has to be looking at this now 2-8 team pissed off. I came to Boston, why? To win? And we're not doing that. Seeing him tonight and seeing him in the last few days, few games, I've kind of seen that spark in him a little bit more, but I want that to carry over. I want that energy and that fire. Hopefully it catches on because no one else seems to be really, wanting to ignite their flame as much as much as Contreras, man. But seeing him get hit like that, again, a punch or two would go a long way with this team.
I was going to say, maybe he needs to start a brawl. And tonight was the 24th time.
Can you guys, I'm going to play the comments. I want to let me know if you can hear these, because he basically said next time it happens, he's going to hit somebody.
Good.
Let me know if you can hear these. I'm going to put it next to my microphone. I don't have it pulled up.
Not just hit by pitch. That's the 24th time that they hit me in my career, 24th. And that's the 6th time they hit me. And they always say, I'm not trying to hit you. That get old. So next time they hit me again, I'm going to take one of them out. That's what happened. That's a message. That's a message.
So
those are fighting words, and he believes
those are fighting words, and we need it.
He means it. And here's the thing: like he said, they've hit him 24 times in his career. That is the 6th time that Woodruff has hit him. Here's the thing: his brother plays on the Brewers. Obviously, his brother's William Contreras, one of the best catchers in baseball. You would think at some point there would be some brotherly love and be like, "Hey, what's the deal here?" You know, I saw when Yelich got on first base, he was talking. I think that's probably the only other guy he respects over there, because he was actually talking to him. Obviously, Pat Murphy is not the biggest fan of Wilson Contreras, but I would not be surprised after that slide that he went and spikes high on Hamilton if they try to throw at him on purpose again, because they're going to try to retaliate. And it's like, maybe the Sox need a brawl to wake them the hell up, because nothing else is working clearly. So it's like they something needs to happen. There needs to be some sort of switch that's flipped, because it's getting late, to quote Yogi, or it's getting late early. Excuse me.
Right. The slide away is dirty, man. But again, fire up the crowd. I think too. The crowd seeing Manny Machado coming in for a 3-game series and kind of getting reminded of that whole Pedroia thing too, kind of, in my opinion, oversensitized the entire situation. You know, obviously, in my opinion, tonight, Contreras' foot kind of went upwards after he bounced over second base as he was going through second base. I don't think it was intentional to hurt David Hamilton, but, you know, everyone can interpret it the way they want. It's just
I don't think he was intentionally trying to hurt him. I think it was an intentional spikes high slide where he was trying to whether hurt somebody or he was trying to do something to someone, and he's trying to take out his anger. That's what he was trying to do.
That's a big boy sliding to second base. You go spikes up, you're trying to hurt someone.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't personal to Hamilton. It was personal to he wanted to hurt someone on the Brewers. It was more what I was saying.
That's fair.
I think if you look at the pitch, barely hit him. So I don't think it was an intentional throw. But I also don't think he would have reacted the way he did if the Red Sox weren't 2-7 at the time.
I also think
I don't think he would have done it. I think he would have just walked to first base, maybe give a stare. But he started yapping back as soon as it happened, and he wanted something to happen. And it was
because of the opponent too. Like, they've hit him 24 times. If this was against the Padres or, you know, against St. Louis coming up, you know, his former team, whatever. But I don't think that would have been as elicited a reaction like he got tonight because of the history there. There was obviously last year the incident where he stepped back when was it Freeland? No, it was Caleb Durbin. It was Caleb Durbin running in the first baseline. That they had a whole incident there. There's always history between Contreras and Milwaukee.
I also got to say, too, after Contreras gets thrown out there at second base and he's in the dugout and he's still on the front step yapping at everyone, that's the kind of thing that this team needs, man. That's the kind of thing. I'm sitting on my couch and I'm fired up. Like, how is no one else in that dugout like backing him up? How is no one else getting angry, too? It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous that's what it's come down to 10 games into the season.
Yeah.
And go ahead, James.
No, I was just going to say, I'm not going to try to harp on it too much, but guess what? They could use another leader right now. They could use somebody like Bregman, besides his bat in the lineup, someone to rally the troops and get whatever's going on together. Because it's, you know, if this continues to end, the season's going to be over by May 1st. And it's like, you know, do I think they'll play better baseball? Yeah, I do. But it's like that they've shown no signs of turning it around and coming even close to like playing a clean game in any area. Like, nothing has gone well for this team. So it's like they could use somebody else. And I think Contreras is a fiery leader in terms of his passion, in terms of like a leader and somebody who has control of the clubhouse. I still don't think they have that guy on the roster. So I think more than his bat, and they could really use his impact bat. That's really where they miss Bregman the most.
I think it's very telling that yesterday after the game, it's Roman Anthony that's talking to the media saying this is an embarrassment. This is
putting too much on a 21-year-old.
He is 21. He's played 80-something games in the major leagues, and he's your front runner here to talk about this in front of the cameras. That is a clear-cut sign that no one in that clubhouse is willing to step up and talk about this. This clear lack of any fire or fight or leadership. You have Roman Anthony, he's 21. He's one of the youngest guys in the organization, and he's in front of the mics talking about this.
Yeah.
I mean, good for him, but that's unacceptable.
And I think we all agree, like, he deserves he deserved the contract. We think he's going to be the next big thing, but it's like, coming with that territory comes being a leader, but it should still, he has not played a full season in the major leagues, hasn't even played 100 career games. Like, that should still, he's still got a lot of seasoning to go and still can get and will get better. This has to fall on somebody else. And it's like, it's harder for a pitcher to do this because, they're out there once every 5 days, and it's like, somebody's got to step up and do it, and clearly nobody has. So
the guy pitching tomorrow has to be the leader. He needs to be the leader. It's Garrett Crochet.
He needs to be the stopper.
He needs to step up. He has to go 8 innings tomorrow, and he needs to shove it up the Brewers' asses, and he has to set a tone. Like, if the Red Sox don't win tomorrow, I can almost say the season's over. Like, if Garrett Crochet
the panic meter in Boston,
go out there and shove it up that team's butt, he has the opportunity to go out there, strike out 14 guys, and say, hop on my back. If you don't want to win, I'm going to win. 3-8 is so much better than 2-9. If you go 3-8, I don't know. I'm not going to say I'll be happy and optimistic, but one win is all that needs to happen to turn me back around. If it's Garrett Crochet striking out 12 to 14 guys, that is exactly the type of win that's going to make everybody hop on board. So I think it starts with Garrett Crochet. He has to be the leader. He's the most talented pitcher on the team. He needs to lead by example and go out there and take it to his own hands tomorrow night.
The problem being he can go out there and strike out 20, but doesn't help if you score 1 run or 0 runs if you have no run support.
Yeah, especially going against Mizrowski.
Absolutely. And that Brewers lineup who can snap at any moment. We saw that they had, I believe, 7+ infield hits tonight.
Yep.
If your defense is going to be absolute dog shit and decide not to show up tomorrow, Crochet can strike out 20 guys. It doesn't matter. It's still a contest, which is sad. It's still sad. I remember when we had Chris Sale, every time Chris Sale would come up and it's like, if as long as he does his thing, we'll take care of the rest. Now it's like the opposite. It's like we need Crochet to do his thing in order for the rest of the Red Sox to hopefully do their job and do the rest.
Yeah, and Milwaukee has a +30 run differential, good for second in baseball. And the reason why the Dodgers are ahead of them is because they blew out Toronto tonight. Otherwise, Milwaukee, it could be one bad swing from somebody, a solo homer, a 2-run homer, and that might be the difference tomorrow night. Like, Crochet could still do his thing, and they could still lose. Like, that's the thing. The offense has to be able to consistently put together good at bat after good at bat after good at bat.
I don't have much else from tonight. It's been a very disappointing game. I've said a couple times, once Moran got through that 3rd inning, actually a couple more things I do want to say. How did you feel about Giovanni Moran throwing 48 pitches or whatever it was and going 3 innings today? Do you think they make a move tomorrow and he's gone? Because he's out for at least 3 games. I think it's very weird how Cora has used his bullpen. I know he hasn't had much of an opportunity to use his back end guys with a lead, but the fact that he's used Watson multiple times, like 40 pitches, just to save the pen. He's used Moran tonight. I think he'll do it with Kelly coming up soon. I think this is just weird how we're just using one guy as a long man, but he really has no other choice. So I can't really complain about it.
I think it'll be Uberstein. He threw 45 pitches yesterday. I think he's going to be the swing man.
Whitlock took his spot.
Oh, that's right. That's right. With the move to get Whitlock back. Yeah. So whether it's Kelly or Moran, they're gonna need to get somebody else in there, somebody else in place of them to, get a fresh arm up there. The reason why I think it might be Kelly is to keep another lefty up in Moran.
It's that trickle down effect of having pitchers go 3+ innings. It's ridiculous.
It's just everything's going bad, and there's no bright spots besides Wilson Contreras hopefully getting hot, and maybe you can have a couple of guys hot at the same time. I know Willier's kind of slowing down, unfortunately, and he wasn't going to be red hot all season, bat 500, but he's starting to go the other way, and we all knew he was going to come back down to earth, but we need multiple guys hot at once. Hopefully Wilson Contreras can keep this going. I didn't see much from Trevor Story tonight. He had a bloop single. He did fly one out the left center field to hit one hard.
For a sac fly, yeah.
Yeah, but besides that, it's still the same Trevor Story to me. I didn't see much difference moving from.
Hey, no strikeouts. He was making contact like that. That's got to be a positive.
Yep. And he had a loud out too. I'm not giving credit to loud outs, but that long fly ball left center field, they were saying in a few months that might be possibly out, maybe high off the monster. Yeah. So again, if that's a result of him hitting 5, he can hit 5 for the rest of the season if he wants. If that's what he's going to do.
I'd love to see him lower, but honestly, the team isn't good enough for that. But that's a whole nother story. I think tomorrow it'll be a fun game no matter what. At least it'll be interesting to watch no matter what the outcome is. If you have 2 studs like that, Mizorowski and Crochet on the mound, it'll be fun. But besides that, I don't have anything else for tonight. Do you guys?
No, let's hopefully win a baseball game tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let's hopefully win. Let's not get absolutely embarrassed by Mizorowski. I do want to give a shout out to Sal Frelick in right field. He was a former teammate of some of my teammates growing up in Lexington, Mass. So it's always cool to see him come back to Fenway and just see him play in general. That being said, I'm not rooting for him by any means. I hope he doesn't get another hit deal all series, but let's go see Crochet go out there tomorrow and absolutely shove it.
Yeah, that's all we can ask for is Garrett Crochet tomorrow to do his thing. But as of now, I don't have anything else. We'll probably be back tomorrow with a very good pitching matchup. But thanks for watching, guys. This episode will be out on all platforms, Spotify, and now we're out on Apple Podcasts as well. Always live on Twitter and YouTube. But thank you guys for watching, and see you guys on the next one. Bye.